Walter Gordon. Who was he? Football coach, champion attorney, U.S. District Court judge, governor of the Virgin Islands, husband and father. At a time when most African Americans faced great obstacles to achieving their goals, Walter Gordon built up a solid reputation of success in several professional fields. His life achievement stands as a monument to ambition, perseverance, and compassion. This is Walter Gordon and what his legacy is today. The story of Walter Gordon begins with his grandparents, Jim and Sarah Gordon, who were slaves living in Atlanta, Georgia. Jim and Sarah Gordon were owned by John B. Gordon, a famous general during the Civil War. After the emancipation of the South, General Gordon put all of Jim and Sarah Gordon's children through college, thus starting within the Gordon family a tradition of college education that is now 5 generations old. Walter Gordon was born on October 10, 1894 in Atlanta, Georgia. When he was 10 years old, his family moved from Atlanta, Georgia to Riverside, California. After graduating from high school, he worked as a chauffeur and a farmhand, saving up money to attend college at the University of California at Berkeley. As an undergrad student, he achieved excellence in both academics and intercollegiate sports. He played every position on the varsity football team, and in 1918, he became California's first All-American player and was the first African-American to play in the Pac-10. After finishing his bachelor's degree, he was hired as the assistant coach for the Cal football team, a position he held for 24 years. In 1919, Walter Gordon was invited to join the Berkeley Police Department and thus became its first African-American officer. Walter Gordon was featured on the famous television show This Is Your Life in 1950. Ralph Edwards, the show's host, recounted his early police career.
At the start of your police career, Walt, Police Chief Vollmer decides to assign you to a beat in West Berkeley, the industrial section of town. But before you can start on your beat, an anonymous letter reaches the chief. If you're sent into that district, you'll be beaten up, or worse. They don't want you in that district. When the chief tells you this, what's your reply?
I'll take care of myself.
That's right. You do take care of it in your own way, so much so that a year later, when the chief wants to transfer you, the people on your beat in West Berkeley protest against your being transferred and demand that you be kept where you are. They become your friends and admirers.
In 1920, he married Mary Elizabeth Fisher, a charming young woman from a pioneer California family. Together, they raised a family of 2 sons and 1 daughter. In addition to coaching football and working as a police officer, Walter Gordon started his legal training at UC Berkeley's Bolt Law School in 1921. He was the first African-American student at Bolt Law School. Recently, UC Berkeley established an endowment in Walter Gordon's name to help students who show exceptional promise in the legal profession. At the endowment ceremony, Dean Jesse Chopper discussed the great success of the Walter Gordon Memorial Fund.
Thank you very much. This is a very happy occasion. I want to say that when this idea surfaced, I guess it was about 2 years ago, I would not be telling the truth if I did not report that I was not optimistic about a successful conclusion. And that's not because Walter Gordon wasn't an important person. But we've had a number of important people graduate from the law school with efforts, particularly after their death, to create a substantial memorial in their honor, and a relatively small percentage of those succeed. I have several functions here this evening, but the first is to report the results. And the results are that of a goal of raising $100,000 for an endowment, whose purpose I'll describe in a few minutes. I'm very pleased to report that it has exceeded that amount and has gone to near $110,000. I don't think we're done yet.
In In 1923, Walter Gordon graduated from Boalt Law School, passed the California bar examination, and set up a private legal practice in West Berkeley. As an attorney, he contributed much to improving race relations and earned the respect and admiration of many people. He chose to represent the underrepresented, arguing many cases against his fellow Boalt Hall alumnus, Earl Warren, who was at that time Assistant District Attorney of Alameda County. When Earl Warren became governor of California, he named Walter Gordon to the Board of Paroles and Prison Terms, and in 1944, he was appointed chairman of the new California Adult Authority.
Well, would you please explain, sir, what the Adult Authority of the state of California is?
Well, Ralph, we in California think the Adult Authority is one of the country's most forward-looking steps in prison reform. The Adult Authority oversees parolees, determines the length of sentence of offenders who have been given indeterminate sentences, and selects with the advice of doctors, psychologists, and sociologists the proper institution to which the offender should be sent so that he may best be rehabilitated. Our purpose is primarily rehabilitation, not merely punishment.
Yes, sir. And why, Governor Warren, did you select Walter Gordon as a member of the Adult Authority Board?
Because he was not only an attorney with an honorable record and an excellent police officer for many years in a fine police department, but he was a humanitarian as well.
Walter Gordon is a great man, and I think he's recognized. I think it's more significant to the black legal community because when I was a young student here at Cal, the greatest role model for a young black in 1951 who wanted to be a lawyer was Walter Gordon. No one had achieved more than Walter, and I think he showed the way for a lot of us by showing that there were some openings and some things you could do as a lawyer. So I think every young black lawyer, certainly in Northern California, owes a debt to Walter Gordon. Certainly I do.
In 1955, President Dwight Eisenhower appointed Walter Gordon governor of the Virgin Islands. After serving as governor for 3 years, he was then named U.S. District Court Judge for the Virgin Islands. He served on that court until his retirement in 1969. After retiring, he returned to California to work with the Berkeley Housing Authority and to serve on the Alameda County Grand Jury. Walter Gordon died on April 2, 1976, at the age of 82.
When I was looking through some of the material that I was collecting on my grandfather with Jonathan, I couldn't help but bring in a little something from my own specialty, which is African history. And that is that in Africa, amongst the people who are the Kavirundi of Kenya, they define the head of a clan, an Omugasa, as a man who talks gently and who can make the people listen to him when they are engaged in fighting or quarreling. And that this definition of a chief, I believe, really sort of fit Walter Gordon, and that not only just within our family, but I think in general within his life, he lived by the principle that people should talk, that people should try and discuss their problems and come to an accommodation, and that this was the way society could function and grow and become an integrated whole. And I thank you.
Walter Gordon's life is a testament to the power of perseverance, fortitude, and humanitarian values. As an African American living in the period prior to the Civil Rights Movement, he attained some of the highest achievements in the legal and judicial worlds and set precedents that remain unsurpassed to this day. His life is now honored in the Walter Arthur Gordon Memorial Fund, an endowment that will assist future African American leaders in their legal studies. The legacy of Walter Gordon continues to be an inspiration to the finest qualities of the human spirit. His exemplary life is an ideal model for the leaders of the future.